Hello, good evening. Welcome to Talk Time with Sharmin, and I'm your host, Sharmin Prince. Talk Time with Sharmin is a show that informs, educate, empower, with the ultimate goal of seeing transformation occur in our viewers and listeners. So I want to thank you for tuning in. And Talk Time with Sharmin is aired every Sunday at 6 p.m. And 48 hours later, if you don't find the video on Facebook, you could find the video on YouTube at Sharmin Prince. You can contact me at talksharmin@gmail.com or 718-506-8255. Or you find me right here on Facebook. You can send me a message or comment or anything like that. But before we go further, someone said to me that, let me just say this. Let me just preface what I'm about to say with this. I follow a lot of rules and regulations and for a lot of structure. I'm very structured in my personal life, in my professional life. Somehow or the other, for this show, I like the freedom of, just being myself and doing whatever I want. So not every time I'll have, this introduction, because sometimes it's so pressing, whatever I want to talk about, it's so pressing that I wouldn't do all the formalities and meet your expectations of, the introduction and all of that. So if I'm not meeting your expectations with that, I want to ask you to forgive me. I'm sorry about that, but sometimes I just like to be rebellious to systems and norms and customs. But today we have a great show for you. From now to 6:30, we'll be talking about the domestic violence that is occurring in Guyana, our home country. And it seems to be an increase. And it's not just domestic violence, it's the murders of the women that seems to be increasing. There was an article that came out or some data, and 2 days later, it said 10 women in Guyana lost their lives to domestic violence, and 2 days later, 2 women lost their lives. So that number increased to 12. And for me, my concern is that I have not seen, and anyone that is viewing, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm very, very open to feedback. But if I'm wrong, please correct me. I have not seen any Guyana governmental minister or the government itself saying anything about this, the increase in the murder of victims of domestic violence. And there needs to be a study. There has to be some study done on the reasons that so many women are losing their lives by the hands of their lovers, their husband, intimate partner violence. Intimate partner violence that is leading to murder. Why? Why are we seeing this increase? And why is everyone silent about it? We have ministers in the government that are women, and the expectation, at least my expectation, is for them to speak out. And because they're silent or mute, the question is why. We're all women. Are we waiting for it to hit on our doorstep? There's so many NGOs in Guyana. You're seeing a few that are connecting with Benita. Congratulations to Benita and the United Bridge Builders that did the walk in May, at the end of May, and last Friday did another walk in New Amsterdam. Congratulations. But I would like to see the government behind that movement. I'd like to see most of the NGOs become a part of that movement. It's time for us there is a cry. This increase of intimate partners debt is saying something to us, and we need to listen. Our men need to be taught better coping skills, how to cope with those emotions that are elicited or surfaced in their intimate relationships with women. Education, more education, resources. If a woman is being abused and she wants to run from her abuser, where would she run? Where would she go? Who will keep her in a safe place until? And where would be a safe place for her in Guyana? These are questions that are unanswered, and there is a dire need. I am surprised that there's students in the University of Guyana that hasn't picked up this cause and advocate and take the streets and do something about it, because we can't wait until it affects us personally. And if we are united as women, what affects you affects me. So even though it's not your relative or you don't know any of the women that have lost their lives, it's a woman, and that's one commonality that we have that is unchangeable. So just because it's a woman, we should do something. At this point, I know Benita is marching and raising awareness, and more people are joining. But I think there is a need for radical intervention, immediate intervention. And what would that intervention look like? More awareness, more TV ads by the government, pointing women in the right direction, and in the direction that they're being pointed, it should be some trusted places, because some of the social service agencies that, well, I can say one agency, a major one, that I was fortunate to be present, and someone that holds a very high position was inside of a room without a ceiling, and the door was ajar. I would say a semi-cubicle or a cubicle with high walls, and I'm on the opposite side. And I heard everything she said to the mother of a differently abled child. And it bothered me that I didn't need to hear all that information, how much money the government give, what the parents are doing. I didn't need to hear that because I was there to support Benita and another victim. And it bothered me to the extent that I think I walked like 3 miles, 4 miles, just to process what I experienced from someone who plays a major role in a major agency, and there was no privacy. Confidentiality is a big issue, and that needs to be addressed. So whatever directions victims of domestic violence are being pointed into, there must be some level of confidentiality. There is so much that is happening. And for me, there are a lot of resources in the diaspora that could be utilized. I don't know the reason why it's not being utilized, because I know a lot of people that would offer their services, and those services are needed. There is no need to be threatened or feel threatened by anyone, but the resources are here, and the need is in Guyana. How do we take the resources from here and supply the need in Guyana? As I said in the beginning, I have so many questions, a lot of questions, and a few answers. And we really need to support those people that are on the ground, like Benita with the marches. We really need to support them, and anyone that is involved doing something, even if it's simply raising awareness. There's need for support groups for both men and women. The Guyana Police Force, congratulations to the sexual abuse unit. We need a domestic violence unit where people are trained how to handle reports and how to handle the abusers, develop some programs for the batterers or the abusers, the men or women, whoever is the abuser, that the first report that you receive, take it seriously. Put that person in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month of support group where they talk about the reasons for reacting by being violent to someone that they love. Sometimes we'll be able to identify that it's socialization. That's how they were socialized. That's what they saw. That's what they learn behavior, or there is something else. But providing that support for those men, especially when the women run to the police station, they file the report, and then they return and said, well, I don't want to press charges. Even though the woman don't want to press charges, the man, once she comes to the police station, the man must, both of them, but they must be one separate for men and one for both of them. A support group where they know that there is support whenever a situation where he feels that he has no control and has to resort to violence, he has someone that he can call. There is a group of people that are there and finding that support. Also introducing some programs in school for both boys and girls so that they understand from an early age that no one should be hitting you. You shouldn't accept that. Those are just ideas. What do you guys think? I am tired frustrated seeing the newspaper articles, breaking news, somebody get killed. And with social media, those things happen immediately. You might even get a video of the murder scene. So, but what do we do? How are we have a problem? How do we fix the problem? Some women are afraid to go to anyone because they want to keep it a secret. They want help, but they don't want anyone to know. And they know if they go to certain agencies, that would become public. So back to the issue of confidentiality, back to the issue of if you're a part of a social service agency, if you're working at child protection, social protection, whatever, women's whatever ministry, and you're dealing with issues like domestic violence, sexual abuse, confidentiality and privacy is very, very important. There should be places where discussions are held that no one else should be able to overhear that conversation. And what I did for me when I was leaving that agency, I said something to the woman. I said, "Oh, thank you for responding to my letter." And she didn't even realize that, I'm saying something to you. She didn't stop to ask me, well, what letter are you talking about, or who are you, or anything like that. Because I wanted her to know that I was there standing for an hour and hearing everything, and some of the information should have been private but I know Guyana don't have HIPAA, so you could discuss medical issues in the public, I guess, so anybody could hear. And some of it was humiliating. I really thought so. So privacy is a big thing, and a victim of domestic violence, it took him or her a lot of courage to walk to the police station, to an agency, to someone to report that they're being abused. And that courage should be handled with kid's glove. It should be handled as a sensitive issue. I don't think one of the skills that we have as a people is how to handle traumatic experiences. And domestic violence is trauma. Sexual abuse, trauma. Neglect, trauma. So emotional abuse, trauma, verbal abuse, and the list goes on and on. It's traumatic. Even witnessing an accident is traumatic. So there are special ways to handle that. Our folks need training, intensive training on trauma-informed care. Guys, I think sometimes I always have a solution. This has bothered me all week. After I saw it, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't even know if marching and writing letters and bombarding the government, I don't know if that will work. But at this point, I'm willing to try anything. And, if you want to join me, let me know. Send me a message. Send me something. Send me how you would like to participate, but we have to do something collectively. And support the people that are in Guyana doing something. But we need the government's involvement. And I'm concerned that they're so silent, and not just silent about the murders. The children, some of the children are witnessing their parents being murdered. One of the last cases, the daughter was murdered, and I think one of the other child got away. Who is providing services to that child? How is the child being supported psychologically, or the family? Who are the emergency responders to those kind of traumatic experiences for those children? So here we have so many children that are being orphaned, witnessing the trauma of, or the murder of a parent, and there is no intervention. The end results of that could become another major problem for our country. The longer we stay, the longer we take to intervene, for any traumatic experience, sexual abuse, domestic violence, the longer we take to intervene and find and provide support for children, the more difficult it is to change the damage the trauma has done. And we have serious problems with psychological issues for those children. How do we plead? Let me see some of your comments. I don't know. I see Tracy. I'll read some of the comments, but at this moment, guys, I'm telling you, I'm at my wit's end. I am thinking a petition, letters, what? Help me, guys. Because this, and I know I may have ruffled some feathers when I said the Minister of Health, a woman. This is a health crisis. I've not heard a statement from her. The Minister of Social Protection, a woman. Nothing from her. I don't know what ministry she's from, sorry, but you know, the Honorable Simona Broom's doing a great job with social problems and addressing like the homeless. I have not heard anything from her either. I've not heard anything from the opposition. So the question is why? Why everyone is silent? And this is a major, major issue. So help me, guys. Remember to like and share. And at 6:30, we have an author. Tracy, I said that earlier, before the problem could be fixed, the government, but I because of the silence, I don't think that it's being viewed as a problem. And one of the things that we have to accept, that Guyana The culture was built on patriarchy. Guyana is a patriarchal society, just like most places. And a lot of things have not been changed. So Tracy, maybe the solution is us helping the government to recognize that this is a problem. I think something like this, the editorials of the newspapers should receive a letter every single day. There are too many women, too many victims, too many survivors, too many thrivers. And that would be great to address it on a way how to address it, to raise it. I don't know. Help me, guys. At this point, I really don't know. I really don't know what to say, because I can't understand that so many murders and nothing is being said. Maybe something is being done behind the scene, I guess. I don't know. But we need to hear something from someone in the government. We need, it's a shame. It's showing the populace that you're not concerned about their lives, especially the lives of those children. Who is providing support for them? Where are they getting the support from? Questions again. I don't have the answers. I don't want to share some of the things that I've learned that is occurring on the ground there in Guyana. I really don't want to. So I'm pleading, and I don't plead, but I'm pleading, for us to do something. Something, anything, because too many women are losing their lives. And now you have men taking their lives after they took their partner's life. And now they're taking the lives of their children too. Why are some of our men having psychotic episodes? Mental health is not being addressed. We still have a 1930 article in 2018 as part of our mental health policy. We need updates. We need upgrades. You need mental health facilities within the communities. Like every region should have a mental health facility to address problems. Teach people coping skills, how to cope. Someone said, our men should be taught in school that women should not be abused. I said that. I think as early as kindergarten, there should be something teaching them. And then when they get to primary school, as they move from kindergarten to primary to secondary, by the time they get to secondary, it should be an advanced form of teaching. They should already know that you shouldn't hit. Don't coping skills. When you get angry, what do? You don't hit. You process, you think, you count, you teach, you give them tools to use in the real world, because of the abuse in the society. So I believe that, Wendy, I totally agree with you. Tracy said the people of Guyana needs to use their power. Government is by the people for the people. People need to exercise this power right and demand changes. It's not vote them out, but put in the party willing to make the changes. I totally agree. That's why I said I'm surprised that, students at the University of Guyana have not done anything. And you ask yourself why. I don't know. I don't have an answer, because I would think that's a great cause for a university student. It's a great study also. It's a study that the social work department should get involved with. And I think now that they have a psychology department, it's a study that is needed. Why? And remember, a couple of years ago, I have never gotten my hand on the study from the Dutch student who went to Guyana to study the suicide. And when they had the flood, and she identified the mental illness, the lack of coping skills, the reasons that a lot of the men in the rural areas drink alcohol, and they resort to violence because of their inability to provide for their families and be the man of the household. Remember the patriarchal society, So because of those things, it has pushed them to self-medicate. And they self-medicating because they have no outlet. They have nowhere that they can go and speak. They're not socialized to share their emotions. So there is a whole revamping of the systems that are available in Guyana in order to make some changes and see transformation take place in the lives of our men, in the lives of our women, because of course we accept the behaviors, and we think that it's okay for our partners to actually be abusive. So as I said earlier, guys, I have a lot of questions and I have few answers. And I think that if we can come together and really write some letters, let's start writing. If each of us write a letter to the editorial in the newspaper, start there, do something, say something. Let's all stop being silent. Let's condemn the government for not doing anything, not saying anything. Let's call the ministers out. I don't know, anything, something. Let's support the people on the ground. I like the idea of every March they wear the camouflage that I took to Guyana. Let's purchase some pans and some stuff and send it to them. I don't know. I'm just thinking of the cough, something so that we all can be involved. We have to do something. We have to do something. I don't know if a petition might work. Maybe a petition Lynette Wynn said, children learn from what they see at home. If their dads hit their moms, it's for them to do the same. Yeah, learn behavior, mom. Someone said, vote them out. Vote them out and vote who in? For what to make the country a drug country, everything takes time. I don't want to get political, but I just want us to do something. I read somewhere, I forgot who it is, it says, don't ask what the government can do for you, ask what you can do for the government. As Tracy said, we voted them in. They are there for the people. They are working for us. So we can make demands. You know, election is coming up. Guys, let's make demands of them. 12 women lost their lives for 2018. 12. Maybe 11 in Guyana and 1 in Barbados. I think they counted her. Doesn't matter. We need to hear the government saying something about it. So, yeah. I'm going to read what Tracy says. Brigadier David Granger needs to have young scholars surrounding him and not those outmoded men and women. His advisors seem so antiquated with their policies. Everything is political. You can't, and as a manager, leader, you cannot, listen to this, and there are studies being done out there. If you are leading millennials, you need to go and train because their thinking and everything is so different. I guess it's the technological advancement that is happening. So if you're a leader of anything, you should be trained on how to manage and how to handle, how to understand how millennials think and how they view the world. We can't have a 1930 mental health policy in 2018. We need a mental health policy that should be as thick as the sexual abuse policy, like the law. Because mental health is prevalent in Guyana. I would personally wish that I could do a study that says or that identifies how so many Guyanese survive, and not just survive, thrive with mental illness. Because we were forced, we were not taught about it, and we were forced to, I'm just letting Arthur know, I see he's on, but his picture is dark, and Arthur Cruz is an author, and ironically, he wrote a book about called The Stalker, and we are talking about domestic violence, and you know that's a part of DV and IPV. I would like to share such a letter with you from my friend in Canada. Her letter voiced her concerns about the femicide that is taking place in Guyana. She wrote the letter to the newspaper. Wendy, I'd love to see that letter. And I think that if a group of us, if we get a group of 21 people, And even if it's the same letter, just bombard the newspaper and the government with a letter every other day. The squeaky wheel gets the eye, right? Maybe we'll be able to get some action from them, some attention, and we shouldn't even have to. The children, even if the women are dead, you're not doing anything, you're not visiting the family, and I don't know, providing support, have a number that they can call, and there is someone else at the end of the line. But the children, the anger in those children, like the Indian kids in, I think it was King Grove, that saw their fathers sat on their mother and stabbed her to death. Heard her, yeah. The details are not important. Those children need severe help. So guys, we need to come up with a plan, develop a plan to do that. And if you're interested, let me know so that we can do something. Let's come together and devise a plan on how we will do the intervention. Now, my guest is here, and I'll bring him in. Good evening.
Hi, Sharmin. How are you?
I am great. How are you? Welcome to Talk Time with Sharmin.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And thank you for actually agreeing to be on the show.
No, my pleasure.
I didn't get a chance. I actually bought the book today. I didn't get a chance to read your book.
Okay.
But I'll read it, and I'll definitely invite you back. But I read every review on Amazon,
Thank
and
you. Thank you very
just
much.
reading the reviews, I may very well start the book tonight to get me into the mood of reading again.
Good. Good. I hope so.
So thank you. Can you introduce yourself to our viewers?
Sure. My name is August Cruz, and I'm a writer here in New York. And I wrote a fiction book called Stalker. It's available on Amazon.com and on Kindle. And I did a lot of research for the book, dealing with people who stalk others.
And what was the inspiration, August?
I used to commute to work every day to Manhattan, and I would take the train, as a lot of people do. And um, noticed that if I took the train at a certain time, I would see some of the same people going to work and then coming home from work, and I just started to wonder what they're like, because they were all very sort of professionally dressed and ready for work or school, what have you. And I started to wonder about some of the stories that you would read in the newspaper about people who, they would always say, oh, he was such a nice guy, or she was just a nice person, but then they had somebody chained up at home. So I started to wonder what are these people like that I see every day. And so I did a little research, and as a fiction writer, I was always intrigued by the idea of just people just having a different side to them that you see, every day. And so I wrote the book, and I, I started to find out that it's a lot more prevalent than we realize, stalking and domestic violence, unfortunately. And so I wrote the book from the stalker's perspective, so that he doesn't even realize how wrong he is in what he's doing. He doesn't even realize just how crazy he starts to become when he sees this woman on the train that he's never met, and then starts to kind of follow her and um, try to find out more about her without her knowledge. So it's written from his perspective, and he goes down this very dark path, and it doesn't end up well, um, as everything, because it's an extreme. So he realizes very quickly that she becomes the center of his focus and his world, and he doesn't understand how wrong it is for him to do what he's doing, taking her picture when she doesn't know, breaking into her apartment when she's not there, all that kind of stuff.
How did it feel to be compared to Stephen King? Because one of the reviewers said if you like Stephen King's book, you would love this.
Well, it was an honor. A very dear friend of mine, a horror writer by the name of Jack Ketchum, was very good friends with Stephen King, and so it was an honor for somebody to even mention that. He's definitely the best at what he does. So to have that as a review is an honor.
Did your research, the research that you've done on stalking,
Mm-hmm.
did that help you to go into the mind of the stalker?
Oh, absolutely. Because it wasn't just celebrity cases. There are celebrity cases of stalking are plentiful. You have, David Hinckley, who shot President Ronald Reagan, to impress Jodie Foster, and you have other, circumstances and situations that are just like that. But there are other stories that haven't been told. Local stories that happen to everyday people, and it really, when I researched that stuff and looked into some of the cases that are out there, videos even that stalkers would take of their victims that didn't even know they're being videotaped, it really did help formulate the idea for this character that I created.
And despite it's a book of fiction,
Mm-hmm.
There it's reality to some.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. A lot of people go through this on a daily basis. A lot of people, 7.5 million people are stalked in the U.S. alone, and 2 out of 3 people are stalked by people that they know, former spouses, lovers,
Mm-hmm.
what have you. And so yeah, it's unfortunately it's something that happens on a day-to-day basis.
When I saw the 7.5 million
Mm.
people that are stalked, I realized that it's not something that I'm speaking for myself as a woman. I
Mm-hmm.
thought about until this morning when I read that. I'm like, but I never thought about being stalked.
Sure.
And despite many of us have routines that makes it easy for a stalker.
Yeah, absolutely. That's that. I mean, you walk home to work, from work the same day, the same way. You go to work the same way. These are patterns that people develop, and yeah, it makes it that much easier for stalking. But also, one of the things that makes it easy for people to do this is the advent of technology in terms of the internet. I mean, how many times have people said, "Oh, let me look up what my ex-boyfriend from high school is doing, or my ex-girlfriend from high school is doing," and people post stuff every day, and they don't think about it. Think it's fun. Oh, I'll post a picture of, oh, look, this is what I did last night. This is what. But yeah, there are people that are looking. People that you may not even think would be looking, but a lot of people are, and unfortunately, people don't take that into account.
What was the most surprising element of your research?
I think the, what struck me the most was the number 7.5 million. That's really what struck me the most, is that it's that high. It really is something that people don't think happens, but it happens more often than you'd like to think. So what shocked me most was the fact that how consistent it is. People don't understand that this happens every day, and so that's definitely what shocked me. The other stuff that I found in terms of videos and letters that online that people would send to the stalkers would send to their victims. Yes, it was shocking, but again, what really set me back was what when I saw how often it happens. People just don't know that no means no.
And this is I know the answer. Do you think that social media has made it easier for stalking?
Oh, absolutely. Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, everything, all that. Because people keep on putting stuff online and they don't realize that once it's out there for the world. It's not just for people that they want to see it. Oh, I'll have a cousin who'll see it or whatever. No, it's for everybody who's online. It's so much easier these days to um, to find somebody, an ex, or even just somebody who you're interested in. It doesn't even have to be somebody that you were involved with, just someone who um, you were interested in, and you can find them online. All you need is a name, and more often than not, you'll find them.
Since I didn't read your book, I'm sorry.
It's okay, you'll get a
Did you
chance.
did you provide um, like tips for readers on how to deal with? His name was Ernest
His name was Everest. Yeah.
Everest. Yeah.
Um, uh, I didn't provide any tips because again, it's a work of fiction.
Hmm.
But there are so many resources out there for people who feel like they're being stalked or have been the victims of stalking. The National Coalition Against Domestic Violence has tips. The National Center for Victims of Crime. Uh, Both websites are outstanding in terms of providing people with resources that are unfortunately going through this type of thing. So there is help out there. My book doesn't provide that. Again, it's a work of fiction, but there are outlets out there for people. There are resources out there rather for people who feel like they're going through this. You don't have to have an Everest in your life. You can definitely make sure that you take steps against that.
And where can our viewers pick up a copy of your book? Where are your book located?
It's available on Amazon.com. It's available through paper copy and of course through Kindle as well. So they can if they look up Stalker by August Cruz, it'll come up right away.
August, to get you have 5 stars on Amazon.
Yeah.
That's not easy to come by. And what was impressive for me is that you're self-published.
Yes. Yeah. I went through CreateSpace.com, which is a part of Amazon. Um, I I put a lot of research into this. I put a lot of work into it. I didn't put it out there until I knew that it was the best work that I could produce. And so that's thankfully the people have been very very generous in their ratings and they've been very very kind. So I've been lucky that way. And
How
I'm
long
gonna be.
did that project take you?
It took me a couple of years. It took me between about 4 years to complete everything between the research and writing it, editing everything. It took about 4 years to make sure that it was perfect. I'm actually going to be starting a kind of a sequel this summer. I'm going to be researching it. The new work will be about a female stalker,
Mm.
which also, stalking is not gender specific. It
Mm-hmm.
happens with both, and so this new one will be about a woman who's a stalker.
It would be interesting to see the difference in the research
Oh yeah,
um,
yeah.
on the difference between how women stalk and how men stalk, and the end results of those. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and you'll see it's with stalking is more prevalent among men, but there's a high percentage of women who will also do that. And in just the preliminary research that I'm doing right now for the new book, um, I noticed that it's also the numbers are pretty high. They also do it in a different way than men. Women tend to, from the research that I've gathered, be a little bit more tech savvy than guys, and so it's not just a Facebook lookup. They really kind of go into it more. Um, Men tend to make it a little bit more personal, and in terms of the way that they do it, it's more face to face and more kind of physical, like following, that kind of stuff. Women do that as well,
Mm-hmm.
but women do a lot more background check, from what I've found so far.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow. That's a significant difference.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And when can we expect volume 2?
Well, I've just started the preliminary research. I'm going to be doing the writing probably over the summer, so I'm anticipating sometime in the fall.
Okay. Okay. Great.
Thank you.
Um, that's excellent, and I know I'll have questions, because when I'm reading the book and I'm reading about Everest,
Hmm.
I would be trying to understand how you conceptualize some of your writing. So I'll definitely be inviting you back,
Thank
and I'm sure a few of our viewers will also be reading Stalker.
Well, thank you. Yeah, again, it's written from his point of view, so the story really takes you through his ride. So you're in his head,
Mm-hmm.
hearing his thoughts, and you stop every once in a while to think, well, why would he do that? And then he kind of takes you through his journey, like why he would do that kind of thing. And he genuinely doesn't realize why what he's doing is wrong, and the rest of us do, but he doesn't get it because in his mind he's justified in his actions. He's right in breaking into her apartment, going through her diary, all that stuff. And of course the rest of society, the rest of us know, uh, no, that's not okay. But he doesn't see it because he's so obsessed. And so yeah, that's how that comes out. So I hope that you like it, and I hope that the rest of your viewers like it. Please, if you can, please leave a review. Let me know what you think. I'd greatly appreciate it.
I definitely will. And can you tell us again where we can find your book, and how can, if someone would like to contact you, how they can do so?
Yeah, sure. It's available through Amazon.com. If you pull up Stalker by August Cruz, it'll pop right up. It's available in print format. It's available through Kindle as well if you prefer to read it that way. To contact me, it's just augustcruz05 at gmail.com.
Can you repeat that again?
Sure. augustcruz05 at gmail.com.
Thank you so much, August.
Thank you so much for having me, Sharmin. I really appreciate it. It's a great show. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know. Okay, good. You're fine. Guys, welcome back. I saw a comment from, that was August Cruz, and his book is available at Amazon. I actually got the Kindle version. You can get the Kindle version if you have a Kindle, or if you like to read digital. I love that because when I'm on the train, I can read. Also, there is the paper form. It's in paperback, so you can get it. The reviews that I read, one reviewer said that she was unable to actually put down the book. It was that compelling. She referred to the author as creative and brilliant. So that could be a book that we can all read, and the Kindle version is pretty cheap, so you can get that and have a discussion, because it's a work of fiction, but he actually did a lot of research, and that's what caught me. And we can go ahead and purchase a few of his books. But before we close, I saw Tracy made a comment that had me. She said, this week, a young lady reached out on Facebook crying for help. She expressed that she is fearful for her life and believes that she will end up dead like the women in the news. Our renowned clinical social worker, Tracy knows, that's an inside phrase that we use, was tagged and asked to help this young lady. She straight up shunned the young lady with her hashtag BS. Tracy, did you reach out to the young lady? That is I don't know what to say, because I didn't see the post, and Tracy is. I hope, Tracy, that I hope that you reached out to the young lady, because, and that's what I said earlier. I know you would. That's why I said earlier that there is need for governmental intervention, and we have to demand that. It don't have to be 10 of us. If 5 of us decide that, look, we are going to come together and we are going to ensure that we get the attention of the government, we can put our heads together and get it done. Because we have all these social workers, psychologists, and everyone, demands have to be made. The president of Guyana, a couple of months ago, hired someone, an advisor. I think he's from the UK, and he provided his recommendations or the result of his investigation or his minor study, whatever he did, and he provided the president with his recommendation. And to date, the president has not decided if he wants to release it. Some of it was released, but we have not heard anything about it. It's sad that we have major social problems that are being treated as though it's nothing. When lives are being lost, women are the glue to the family. Now, if you destroy the woman, her children. I have seen where orphans were left behind and family members treated those orphans so poorly. They were the Cinderellas, if they were females, of the home. And if they were boys, I don't know any fairy tale story where the boy had to scrub the stairs and do all the work and eat only parts of the meat that no one else eats, or parts of the fish that no one else eats. You know, they treat orphans poorly. With the increase in murder, what would happen to those orphans? And these are family members, blood members. That's my concern. And then the stigma and the label on the children. How are they handling that when they return to school and they get into a verbal altercation with a child, and children are cruel, and they say that to that child, and that rage comes out? Who knows what would happen? Are we going to wait for that? Should we wait for that? I don't think so. I think that we should do something. And any idea, anything, it's great. I see V is here. I wonder if she wants to come in. Yeah. Tracy said that the abuser has friends in the police force. Tracy, the same thing that happened 25, 30 years ago continue to, there has been no changes in the systems in Guyana. So because, and the woman that I mentioned, the two children in Cane Grove that witnessed their mother murder, their father murdered their mother in the presence of them, and then ran in the house and he stabbed her with a knife and then ran in the house and drank substances to take his own life. That man had friends in the police and at the station, and he wasn't arrested for her numerous reports. That is something that needs to be addressed. Tracy, if we can get the name of that police officer that is the friend, or if not even the name, the station, and make it public that here there is someone in the East La Penitence police station that has a friend who abuses his partner, and to the point where she's fearful of her life. And can you imagine the police make an oath to protect and serve, right? And I can't go to the station because my husband or partner friend works at the station and nothing will happen. That's I can't fathom that. I can't process that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. It's like I just embodied her and felt how she is feeling, helpless. That's why she took to social media and tagged one of the renowned social workers in Guyana and didn't get, I hope she got some attention. I know Tracy said she reached out to her. I think cases like that, we just make them public. You know, they're families that are on the siege by abusers of one of their relatives, and the entire family is afraid because the abuser threatened them that he would kill them. And so they have an almost disabled child through to domestic violence, and they're afraid to go to the police because he's going to kill them and he has money. We need to change that. The paradigm needs to be changed. There needs to be a shift. And we can do that. And we have to do that. The onus is on us. If another woman life is lost and we have not started our campaign, her blood would be on our hands. We need to ensure that the president hears from us. He must be like, is this group again? I'm tired of them. Look, someone please go and have a press conference so that they can stop bombarding my email. Something like that, so that we get attention. That's all I can think about. Because I don't know, Guyana's systems and way of being is totally different. So the abuser is afraid to call the police, and hi, Dr. Simon. Hey, Stepper. Wendy, femicide. I am going to read that article. Okay, June 9th, editorial by Why Sam. I wonder if that's my friend Yvette. Anyhow, we need to get a copy of that. I'll actually provide a copy, get a copy, and post it in Talk Time with Sharmin so that we can. Bonita, I'm sending you the link so that Bonita can join us. Bonita is on the ground in Guyana, doing her thing. Let me see if I can. And anyone can join us. If you want to join, just let me know, and I can send you the stuff. But we need to support Bonita. She's there. She's doing it on her own. She has real life stories that she can share. Some of them. She last Friday. Okay. Tracy, I hear you, but how do we protect her? You know, if she can't go to the precinct, to the place where they agree to protect and serve, where would she go? How can we help her? I understand we don't want to put her in danger and in further danger, and that's very important. Her safety is the number one. Her safety is the most important thing. So how do we Keep her safe. When I was doing the research the last time I spoke about domestic violence, I found, I think, 5 homes, it's on the internet, that is dedicated to domestic violence, and not there are 2 faith-based organizations. I attempted to call one's name and I changed. I'm learning. 2 faith-based organizations that have domestic violence shelter. I never knew that. And when I asked a few people, they said also that they never knew that. So what would we do? How can we help her? Other than providing moral support and encouragement. The number one, if she's afraid of losing her life, the safety plan is to get her out of there. But get her out of there and take her where? I don't know, guys. I have no idea at this moment. All I know is too many of us are losing our lives. And I had dedicated the month of June to men and trauma because, next week is Father's Day. But I can't find, I have one guy that agreed to share his trauma and the effects of his trauma. I reached out to one other person. He said that he went back to being private. So, but if you know any males that are willing to share the effects of trauma and understand trauma. I was listening to someone that I think he's from St. Vincent this morning, and they're putting together a team to intervene on child sexual abuse in the Caribbean. And he was talking about the psychological effects. He understands the effects, and one of the things that he raised was men that are abused by women don't address it, but they have the same problems like women that were abused by men. And I had a discussion with someone, and he said it was not abuse because she was 3 or 4 years older than him. And he didn't see it as abuse. And a lot of men are like that. And most of them, the study shows that most of them are promiscuous, have relationship problems. So, okay. So he addressed that, and I remembered my conversation with someone a few months ago, and he didn't see that it was a problem that he was raped by someone older than him. He thought it's fun, and a lot of men think that. And now that they're older and they're exposed to the effects, they're asking themselves questions. Why? I am over my time. The show should only be an hour. But I just wanted to read Tracy's comment about the person seeking help on Facebook. I didn't see it, despite I have the renowned social worker. I don't see her post. And it's a shame that someone would reach out, on social media. Is desperation. That person is desperate. And thank you, Tracy, and who are the other members that are working along with you. Thank you for doing that. You might save her life. I hope so. And we're able. um, Tracy, I have a show. That's why I the person that agreed to share his trauma will be someone that is going to highlight pride. And I also have someone else in mind that I haven't reached out to. But I wanted to do twofold, to deal with the trauma. And it might not be the best idea, but that's how I wanted to do it. This has been Talk Time with Sharmin. I'm your host, Sharmin Prince. You can find me on Facebook. The show is on every Sunday at 6 p.m. If you want to be a part of the show, you have something to offer. The month of July, I am dedicating to women and trauma. I have a few women lined up. If you know anyone that is comfortable and ready to share their trauma, talk about it, start their healing process, because I believe that sharing have a great, I don't know how to explain it. Sharing is something that we find hard to do because of how we were socialized, right? But sharing releases the emotional tensions. It releases the burdens that we carry. You hear people say, oh, I feel so much lighter. You feel so much lighter because you've offloaded. So sharing is important. But on that note, I am planning a workshop. It's going to be small and intimate because of the work that we will be doing. It's going to be in August, because August month, or at the end of July. I think July is a little more free for me, but something else came up. So I'll be traveling again in July. So August might be it, because I'm not going to be doing the annual conference at Hilton. I was trying to see if I can find a hotel in Brooklyn. There's one downtown Brooklyn that I'm thinking about. But I don't know. Last year I said that was my last conference. But and I'll do smaller workshop, and I really think it's a need. But you'll hear more about that shortly. Follow me on Facebook. I'm on Twitter, but I can't keep up. Instagram, still can't keep up. So, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, like Talk Time with Sharmin on Facebook, share the video, and if you have ideas of what you want us to talk about, you can send them to me at talksharmin@gmail.com. The website is being worked on, and join me next week at 6 p.m. But during the week, I'll have some interviews with the Guyanese artists that are still here. And it would be remiss for me to end the show and not thank those Guyanese artists. Thank everyone that performed, but the artists that came from Guyana, Blaze Antonio, I saw his performance. Excellent. He did a fantastic job. Vicardi Singh, Trayvon Vibes, Roger Hines. Roger Hines is actually performing tonight. You have Saiku. Saiku did an excellent job also. Brandon Hardin, the Soca Monarch. And who else? We had Eddie and Adrian Dutchin that are here from here. And of course, the only female that came up from Guyana, Ernesta Nestor. We need to see more of her. Guys, we have to support our Guyanese artists. If any of you are out there and you need their material there, you need their songs, contact me so that we can start pushing our Guyanese artists. We have talent. Ernesta did an excellent job. She's an entertainer, her performance. We have all these other artists. Let's support them. We can critique them so that they can become better. But I want to see us, all of us, support them, push them. If you're familiar with some of them are leaving next Friday. If you're familiar with television shows or shows that we can get them on this week, reach out to me. But let's support our own. Let's support those guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Peace. Namaste.